Hi, I'm here at Relix because I wrote this book, principally. This book is called Truth, Lies, and Hearsay, a memoir of a musical life in and out of rock and roll by John Simon. That's me. And that's me back when I was in the world of rock and roll. So, among the musical moments in my musical life in rock and roll, one of the favorite periods for me was working with a band called The Band. Lee Von Helm, Richard Manuel, Rick Danko, Garth Hudson, and Robbie Robertson. I was lucky enough in the right place at the right time to produce their first two albums, Music from Big Pink, The Band, which is their second album, which is like calling your second child Junior, and then I was the musical director for The Last Waltz. The Last Waltz has a very special place in my memory because not only was it a wonderful event where the band invited their favorite artists from all around the world to come and perform, and they would back them up. Artists like Eric Clapton, whom I see back here on the wall, there he is, and Dr. John, and Van Morrison, and Bob Dylan, and there are just so many I can't remember them all. But it was the last performance by the band as the band, and I wrote a song with that in mind, indicating that even though these bands are lost to memory, the miracle of recorded sound keeps them alive for us. This song is called Lost. Lost like leaves on the tide that float far and wide, just to land on some far seaside. Lost like songs when they end, a voice on the wind, like wayfaring, wandering friends. Lost like the beat of long-gone bands that flew through lips and ran from hands and tapped the feet at long-gone jams. They're never lost. Lost like dreams when you wake, those big plans you make, like pebbles tossed in a lake. Lost like flowers when they die, balloons in the sky, like seconds that tick right by. Lost like the beat of long-gone bands that flew through lips and ran from hands and tapped the feet at long-gone jams. They're never lost. Lost like the beat of long-gone bands that flew through lips and ran from hands and tapped the feet at long-gone jams. They're never lost. They're never lost. They're never lost. They're never lost. Lost. Oh, thank you, thank you. I have an audience of 3 here in this lovely room at Relix. Well, okay, that's the band. Another artist that I worked with who got super famous, she had a band called Big Brother and the Holding Company, and out there in internet cyberspace, you can tell me her name was. That's right, Janis Joplin. Janis was really something. She was a remarkable performer. She was electric on stage. But people always ask me, what was she like in the studio? Because it had to have been a different thing. And I often say that Janis was coated on the outside with patchouli oil and on the inside with Southern Comfort. And both of them are highly explosive. She was tough sometimes. Once I remember I was really working a lot. I was producing 2 albums at once. I was producing The Electric Flag in the afternoon and Janis's band, Big Brother and the Holding Company, at night in adjacent studios in the same building. And one afternoon, while I was there with The Electric Flag playing piano, in comes Janis with her huge aura, and she looks at me and she says, "Hey, you." That was one of her names for me. We were very close. "Hey, you, how come you're playing piano on their record and you're not playing piano on my record, motherfucker?" That was another one of her affectionate names for me. Yeah, she and I didn't always see eye to eye. Which reminds me of another song. These are nice segues here. Reminds me of another song. There's 2 ways of looking at the same thing. One side's autumn and the other's spring. The first way, everything looked so bad. The next way is the best time you ever had. If it ain't one, then it's the other. Either you're a hater or you're a lover. The way you feel could easily swing. And there's 2 ways of looking at the same thing. 2 ways of looking at the same thing. Heads or tails spinning, turning. One day friends through thick and thin. The next day you can't stand to look at them again. If it ain't one, then it's the other. Your enemy could be your brother. Flip that coin, remembering there's 2 ways of looking at the same thing. Looking at the same thing. We should stop this bickering. Give your lover a second chance. Do you want revenge or do you want romance? If it ain't one, then it's the other. Forgiving's divine, not two's a bummer. In the doghouse now and you want to spring. Well, there's 2 ways of looking at the same thing. Lift your feet and start to dance. Shake your blues and drop your trance. Open up, let your heart sing. There's at least 2 very different ways of looking at the same exact thing. Okay, once again, I'm going to bring up this book here because on page 303, there's this chart. This chart is how to make a record. Here it is in full color, this poster. And it's like a board game. Start with an idea, pick songs, pick players, rehearse, change players, go back 2, book studio, waste 1 day, lose turn, take 1, take 15, go back 1, pizza, etc. Then when you get over to here, it says A&R rep visits, go back to start. Over here it says drugs, go ahead 3, go back 2, go ahead 1, go back 4, drugs. So anyway, this is from this book. It's the book is many different things for different people. People keep asking me what were things like back then. I'm just full of stories. So I put all these stories in this book, and it also has things for the amateur musician, like how to make a record, which that's about. And it's a very personal book. It's not full of dirt, about artists. It's just all from my point of view, and it has lots of people in it. Janis Joplin, Levon Helm, Robbie Robertson, Leonard Cohen, Mama Cass, Paul Simon and Art Garfunkel, Blood, Sweat and Tears, Peter Arrow, Taj Mahal, The Beatles, blah, 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 blah. These are all people that I came in touch with, some of whom I worked with. So it's a good book. I'm really proud of it. It took me about 4 years to put together. And at first I resisted doing it, but in the end, I'm just really glad that I did it. So this is for you. And besides everything else, rock and roll, my life in rock and roll. Rock and roll is a small thing in the world we live in. I mean, here at Relix, it's a big thing. But in the world, it's a small thing. And like a lot of other rock and roll artists and playing arts in general, I have a social conscience. So I wrote this most recent song. That's why I have this piece of paper in front of me, because it has lyrics on it to help me remember it. This song, I won't even tell you the title, it'll be obvious. Okay, here it goes. The left, the right, the day, the night, the dark, the light, one. The friend, the foe, the high, the low, the quick, the slow, one. The pious priest, the infidel, the west, the east, the sick, the well, the strong, the frail, the truth, the tale, the flea, the whale, one. The border guard, the prison yard, the spared, the scarred, one. The poor, the needless war, the cannons roar, one. The troops deployed, the naive youth, a town destroyed, the brutal truth, the refugee, the bound, the free, they're you, they're me, one. The sun, the rain, the joy, the pain, each John or Jane, one. The twilight hush, a teenage crush, a luscious thrush, one. The winsome maid, her nights awake, the dashing blade, the lover's ache, the sweet perfume, the perfect bloom, the bride, the groom, one. oceans deep, the world asleep, the wolf, the sheep, one. The hallowed ground, the lost, the found, the softest sound, one. The things you tried and the plans you made, the changing tide, the years that fade, the wounds you nurse, the lifted curse, the universe, one. Thanks. I plead with some of you musicians out there who have your own band, record that song. I want to get that message out there. You can find it on YouTube. Just called One, obviously. Well, that's it. It was a pleasure being here at Relix, here in the heart of New York City, in the heart of America. And come back and see me sometime.